Have you ever wondered what makes something alive? I mean, really alive. Welcome to this explainer. We're going to jump straight into an incredible journey through the absolute, mind-blowing diversity of Earth's living world. Whether you're prepping for NEET biology or you're just a naturally curious person wanting to understand the literal architecture of life, you're in the right place. We're going to see exactly how scientists take what looks like infinite chaos out of nature and turn it into a beautiful, logical system.
Seriously, just look around you for a second. From a tiny microscopic bacteria swimming in a single drop of water, all the way up to a giant whale navigating the deep ocean. Plants, animals, birds, insects, and, all those organisms you absolutely cannot see with the naked eye. The diversity of life on Earth is simply mind-blowing. It's almost too vast to comprehend when you really pause and think about it. To put that into perspective, scientists estimate that right now, we know of about 1.7 to 1.8 million species, almost 2 million unique types of living things that we have actually identified, studied, and named. But here's the crazy part. That is barely scratching the surface. There are so many more species out there entirely undiscovered, just hiding in deep rainforests or at the very bottom of the sea.
Okay, let's dive into this. All of this incredible variety, every single plant, animal, and unseen organism combined is what scientists call biodiversity. It's the whole shebang. But having millions of different organisms presents a massive challenge, right? How on earth do we even talk about them without getting completely lost in the numbers? Before we can really understand them, we've got to figure out how to organize them.
Section 1. The Universal Naming System. Think of Earth's biodiversity like a massive, chaotic library. There are millions of books, but no catalog system. If you wanted to find one specific book, good luck. That's the core of our problem here. Different regions use completely different local names for the exact same organism. You might call a bird one thing in your hometown, but someone halfway across the world calls it something else entirely. It creates massive scientific confusion. If researchers can't even agree on what they're looking at, they can't share data, they can't collaborate, and science basically grinds to a halt.
To solve this, scientists use an elegant, globally recognized solution called nomenclature. Nomenclature is really just a fancy word for a universal naming system. It's designed to totally eliminate all that regional confusion. It ensures that a scientist in Tokyo, a researcher in Brazil, and you are all speaking the exact same language when talking about a specific living thing.
This brings us to a brilliant system introduced by Carolus Linnaeus, known as binomial nomenclature. Binomial literally just means two names. Every single organism gets exactly two names. The first word is the genus, and it always starts with a capital letter. The second word is the species, and that's written entirely in lowercase. Now, there are strict formatting rules you've absolutely got to memorize here. These names are Latin-based, they must be in italics when typed, and if you're handwriting them, you have to underline them separately. And this brilliantly illustrates those strict naming rules in action. Take the scientific name for the common mango, Mangifera indica. See how that's structured? Mangifera is the genus, starting with a capital M. Indica is the species, all lowercase. It's Latin-based and it's italicized. Because of this exact format, any biologist anywhere in the world instantly knows you're talking about a mango tree, completely regardless of their native language.
Section 2. Bringing order to chaos.
So we've got the individual names sorted out, but what about the macro level? We need a way to physically group this overflowing library of life together. The strategy is actually remarkably straightforward. We group them based on their shared similarities. We look at their structures, their genetics, their traits, and we put organisms that share core characteristics into the same groups. It's exactly like putting all the history books in one section of the library and all the sci-fi books in another.
Now, this process has formal names. The actual act of grouping these organisms based on their similarities is called classification. And the deep, rigorous science behind how we decide to classify them, the rules and principles governing those groups, is known as taxonomy. Taxonomy is the essential scientific tool we invented to bring structured order to the wild chaos of biodiversity.
Section 3. The taxonomic hierarchy.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Organisms are arranged in specific, nested levels, starting from the smallest group and building up to the largest overarching category. We start way down at the bottom with species. Closely related species are grouped into a genus. Related genera form a family. Families group into an order. Orders join together into a class. Classes form a phylum. And finally, phyla are grouped into the massive overarching kingdom. Memorizing this exact directional flow is absolutely crucial for any biology student.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can take those abstract Latin terms and anchor them directly to us. Let's map humans onto this taxonomic hierarchy. Our kingdom is Animalia. Our phylum is Chordata. We belong to the class Mammalia, the order Primate, and the family Hominidae. Our genus is Homo, and our specific species is Sapiens, Homo sapiens. Seeing it laid out like this shows you exactly how we fit into the broader tree of life, right alongside every other living thing.
Section 4. Defining a species.
Let's zoom all the way back down past the kingdom, class, and genus to arrive at the absolute foundational unit of classification. What exactly makes a species? Well, it's a specific group of organisms with similar characteristics that can successfully reproduce with one another. That right there is the biological key. It's not just about looking alike, it's about that crucial requirement of reproduction. If they can successfully reproduce to create fertile offspring, they generally belong to the same species.
So, the crucial point is that biology and taxonomy give us a concrete, scientific framework to understand living things. We aren't just philosophizing about what life is or how it connects, right? We're using strict, universally agreed upon rules, logical groupings based on shared traits, and biological imperatives, like reproduction, to systematically map the living world.
It's so important to remember that while the sheer volume of life on Earth, those 1.8 million species and counting, is completely overwhelming, it's precisely this structured classification that makes studying biology even possible. Nomenclature, taxonomy, and the taxonomic hierarchy, these are the tools that let us navigate the massive library of life without getting totally lost.
But as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really think about. Remember those undiscovered species we talked about at the very beginning? If there are millions of life forms still out there, hiding in plain sight or deep in the ocean, how many of those undiscovered species might completely change the very taxonomic structures and family trees we just learned about today? The architecture of life is stable, sure, but as science marches on, it's always evolving. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and keep exploring.